Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Tuesday, May 13, 2025. Making the headlines tonight, Ministry of Health warns of measles outbreak in Spanish Lookout. Missing Roaring Creek man found dead. And Education Week continues. We take our first break and return with the news in detail.
Make light work light.
toshk akale chakahonil utsut esi likwanhik chitzakal reru hunahik likwang belis kwanko chitzakal.
Welcome back. With your news, I am Drea Espinosa. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has warned the public that there is an ongoing measles outbreak centered on Spanish Lookout Cayo. There were 2 initial cases which were reported back in April, which were then confirmed through laboratory testing. The ministry reports that 5 new cases have been clinically diagnosed since, stemming from one of the initial cases. Director of Public Health and Wellness, Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa, gave an update.
We had found 5 additional epidemiologically linked cases. So that was linked to one of the laboratory confirmed cases. So it was in the same family, and these people were again isolated. Since April 27, we have continued to do our heightened surveillance. We've continued to send laboratory samples for testing. Dr. Bear can say, I see you have 54 samples have been sent so far, and the only 2 laboratory confirmed were the ones that we reported on. Now, moving forward now to what has happened over the last few days. On Friday, the 9th of May, we were informed that there was someone with fever and rash at a facility in the Spanish Lookout area. We visited and we took samples for this person, and these samples are in the process of being run. We haven't received the results as yet, but clinically, that person fits the clinical definition of measles. On doing the investigation of that person and following the trail and where this person has been, again, it's linked to travel to Mexico. We cannot say that this new case that presented on Friday is an imported case, because it appears that it's locally transmitted at this point, because this person has no travel history. This person has nobody in the family that has traveled to Mexico, but this person is linked to someone who had recently traveled to Mexico. So with that confirmation and with the assessment of that the team did on the ground, we determined that there is ongoing transmission of measles in the Spanish Lookout community.
Due to the suspected cases, the ministry strongly advises that visitors to Spanish Lookout exercise extreme caution, especially those who are not vaccinated. To safeguard the health and well-being of residents, the ministry urges that citizens should consider getting the measles, mumps, and rubella (MMR) vaccine. A booster shot is advised for those who had already received 1 dose or for those uncertain of their vaccination history. The ministry assures that the MMR vaccine is safe and effective, but not recommended for those who are pregnant, immunocompromised, or showed allergic reactions to a previous dose. For those looking to travel, the ministry advises that vaccination is ensured at least 2 weeks prior to travel. If someone suspects they have been exposed to measles, the ministry strongly advises that they get vaccinated within 3 days of exposure to prevent infection and to seek medical care from the nearest healthcare provider as soon as possible for further instructions. Typical symptoms of measles include high fever, cough, runny nose, red and watery eyes, tiny white spots in the mouth, and rash, which could typically start in the region of the face and the neck. The family of 24-year-old Moses Garbutt had reported him missing, having last seen him on May 10 in Roaring Creek, Cayo, where he resides. They had also been asking for the public's assistance in locating him. However, the situation turned tragic after Garbutt's lifeless body was discovered this afternoon in Belmopan. The family told the media that surveillance footage last showed Garbutt leaving his home with a man they believe may be involved in his death. His aunt Rachel Guzman said his body showed signs of possible torture.
Well, we got a tip that he was in Warhead. I believe that it was a distraction to distract us from where he really was. And so my nephews decided that maybe he would be in a closer area to the area where he disappeared from. So we decided to start to comb that area across by Mortomaro and this area. So we started down closer to the edge of the road, and driving through here, my daughter saw some birds flying over. Yeah, flying over. So we decided to stop here and check, and we went through the bushes because we saw like something was mashed down, like somebody walked through bushes. So we decided to go through there, and then when I told my family to go the opposite direction, and I went the opposite direction. And from about maybe 100 meters, I saw him there. He was already, his hands were up, he was stiff, he was already decomposing. My daughter and his friend ran ahead of me, and they went to inspect the body, and they saw like he was tortured and burnt. He was very, very, very humble, very family oriented. He was always with his kids. He has stepkids and he has 2 kids of his own. He was always with them. He was a family guy, basically. I mean, everybody has their past and stuff, but Moses was a very humble young man, and everybody who knows him can say that he was very, very humble. Well, we got a tip that he was in Warhead. I believe that it was a distraction to distract us from where he really was. And so my nephews decided that maybe he would be in a closer area to the area where he disappeared from. So we decided to start to comb that area across by Mortomaro and this area. So we started down closer to the edge of the road and driving.
The Public Service Union of Belize, PSU, posted a statement on their Facebook page today to clarify its current support of public servants and teachers. In the post, the PSU states, quote, "We are not demanding a salary increase, but rather a restoration of earned benefits contractually owed to public servants and withheld due to past government policies. Specifically, we are calling for a salary adjustment equivalent to 3 annual increments that were frozen unilaterally, depriving public officers of compensation they had rightfully earned under established employment agreements. Public service salaries in Belize traditionally include annual increments, which are pre-agreed, incremental adjustments tied to tenure and performance. These increments are not discretionary raises, but part of a structured compensation system designed to recognize performance, experience, and public service loyalty. However, during periods of economic constraint, successive governments impose increment freezes, halting these adjustments for public officers. As a result, many workers lost 3 full increments they would have otherwise received under normal conditions," end quote. The PSU is now urging the government to acknowledge the debt owed to the public officers due to the 3 withheld increments, to commit to salary adjustments, to restore the 3 withheld increments, and to do so without further delay, and to, quote, "engage in good faith dialogue to ensure public servants are no longer penalized for circumstances beyond their control," end quote. ACP Gilberto Romero on Monday told the media that so far, under the state of emergency, 35 individuals have been sent to prison. At the time, he said an additional 35 were being interviewed. He explained that these individuals who are suspected of being involved in gang activity are detained, interviewed, and then vetted.
Okay, the SOE operations continue. So far, there are 35 persons who were sent to prison. We have another 35 that are being interviewed, and then we'll know how much from that amount will be sent to prison today.
Sir, how do you respond to the report or characterization that a number of especially the heads, have been able to escape the SOE incarceration because they've turned over weapons, or in one case, a kilo of coke?
Several persons were detained, interviews were conducted, and then they are vetted, and then we determine who is taken to prison. That is all I know.
But are you all trading weapons for freedom?
Not that I know of, no.
So is it your position that the department has not managed to secure any illicit firearms or drugs?
There are several searches that continue to be done. And whenever we find firearm drugs, then those are confiscated. Or if persons are found, then they are arrested. That is all I know.
After the break, mother and son duo opens art exhibit at the Bliss. Stay tuned.
Hi there. Are you on your phone right now?
22-32-87-6.
This week at the Bilal Art Gallery inside the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts in Belize City, a mother-son duo, Rachel Huchner and her son, Dean Martin, are showcasing their paintings, many of which depict moments in Belize City's past. The art exhibit, which will be showcased until Friday, is aptly titled Moments. Huchner, who now resides in Tobago, explained that she still remembers her time in Belize City and how she can now teach her son about the country's past through art.
Basically, we do a lot of historical paintings between myself and my son. So we have been working on a few pieces over the past year, you would say, and then coming towards the end, I came up with the theme moments, because when you paint, you basically capture a moment in time. So it's, like every snippet is a moment.
So what are some of the moments that we can see here today? Where did you draw your inspiration from?
From life, walking down Albert Street to a lady making some Johnny cakes, or the people just walking, just doing life. Life happens every second. A lot of my clientele are Belizeans that are living abroad. So they will look at things and they go, oh my goodness, that's my street, that's where I lived, and so on. So it's important for me to try and find iconic spots throughout the city, or even moments or things that people could relate to that resonates with them, but also resonate with me. It have to touch me first.
You spoke of the piece behind you. What about this piece that speaks to you the most?
Well, I did this based on Hophius was closing down after so many years, and there's a lot of buildings on Albert Street, William Kwan, Brody's, Romax, not there anymore, Odette's. I stopped in by Sikafi the other day, and the history that all of these, they're not just buildings. There's so much stories and memories that resonates with people here, and especially those that live abroad. They miss Belize. People live abroad, but they love their Belize. He works along with me because they have a very keen and sharp eye for detail. So sometimes he might see something that's off, or he might be, Mommy, the perspective is a little bit off. The colors are not working right. So we work a little bit together on that. And in doing that, he gets to learn a little bit about the history of Belize. Like we did one with St. Mary's and that structure that's up in front of the church. But I thought it related to the church. It was actually a fire bell. And in learning about it and speaking with my dad, I learned a really interesting little story about my great-grandfather who did something a little bit uncanny, had somebody ring the bell so that he could win an auction. And it was just funny, but learning about that kind of history, those things come back up, is beautiful. And I think he's beginning to appreciate Belize from that standpoint as well.
Friday will be celebrated in Belize as Teachers' Day. Throughout the year, teachers at every level in every school across the country routinely spend their own money to ensure that their classrooms are equipped with all that they need to properly educate their students. Now, this week, it's the turn of the students and their parents to help teachers feel appreciated. Vice Principal of Eden SDA Primary School, Elisa Landero, explained that her school does what it can to make their teachers feel appreciated. However, she said that many students also show up with gifts for their teachers this week.
Here at school, we try to go out for teachers because we know that without teachers, there wouldn't be anything. So as administrators, we try to encourage students to recognize their teachers. So like from ahead of time, we already spoke to the children, okay, Teachers' Day is coming. Try to put up something important for your, something that your teacher will want. Save up, give your teacher a little surprise. And we have noticed that from other years, children do a lot. Parents, there are some parents that they really show appreciation to the teachers. So here at our school, a lot of teachers receive gifts. That makes me feel good because I know that those teachers are doing their part in the classroom. But as a school, when teachers they come, we try to surprise them as much as we can. We try to spend a lot of money on them, but believe me, this has been like, we try to budget along the whole school year to be able to save up something for that day.
Now we hear from teacher Afni Nayerzul, who, along with his students, wish all teachers a happy Teachers' Day.
We want to wish all the teachers a happy Teachers' Day. We know that you guys are the ones that build up this nation. We are the ones who help create other professions. So we want to tell the teachers that we appreciate you all. And those who have taught me before, we appreciate you all as well. And thank you for your service. Thank you for giving your all, even through sickness, through health, to strength, to weaknesses. We all do that work. And we are the ones that we can say we are the backbone of who people become in their later life. So happy Teachers' Day. Enjoy yourselves. Don't limit yourselves to enjoy your day. Celebrate your achievements, celebrate your breakdowns, because all of those make us who we are as teachers.
Happy Teachers' Day! Thank you for your dedication!
Education Week continues this week at Eden SDA Primary and Preschool in Santa Elena, Cayo. On Monday, the Friends for Conservation and Development, FCD, made a visit and spoke to the students about the work they do and its importance. Executive Director of FCD, Rafael Manzanero, said these visits are important as they have included an educational aspect of their work from the beginning.
Yeah, FCD has always maintained an environmental educational component from the very, very beginning days. And thus, we are still, of course, encouraged and supported by the Ministry of Education these days to more formally be able to enter into schools and be able to provide the environmental messages that we basically have for that type of audience. In reality, we do have several programs that we normally run every year, Giovanni, and in the matter of the presentations, it can range from the protection of the rivers, the work and the importance of the Chiquibul forest. We also cover the aspect of the threats of illegal wildlife trafficking, for example. And these days, we are also announcing a lot about the fact that forest fires can be prevented once people take those measures in consideration and to put it in action. So there's a multitude of themes that we basically cover, and it ranges from the audiences that we have and also the areas where we are operating. So for this month, it will be, of course, dependent upon the request made by the schools. Justin Pook, who is our environmental educator, basically is the main one that heads out there to do the outreach campaigns. So that is basically the kind of the messaging that we would do. It becomes, of course, highly important for us, environmental education, because we can always understand clearly that people will only want to protect the things that they know about, that they can appreciate. And the way to appreciate it and to understand it is basically by doing outreach, and also then to invite them to go and visit some of these places. So we have noticed over the years that the public outreach certainly has worked quite well. And more now that these areas are becoming a little bit more accessible. So we certainly believe that schools can now be able to visit Chiquibul and be able to get even a better understanding on why this becomes important to protect these big forests that we have in the Cayo district.
Recently, we spoke with the Minister of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs, Honorable Drea Garcia Ramirez, and asked her to share memories she has of past teachers. Honorable Garcia Ramirez is the area representative of Corozal Bay and grew up in the area. She shared fond memories of her time at primary school.
I went to school, a school called Mary Hill Roman Catholic School. It's really in the San Andres village. And my years there were really, really nice. I can tell you I remember my principal very well, Miss Wallman. Um, I can tell you my standard 4 and my standard 6 teachers, especially Mr. Miguel Rivero and Mr. Aguilar, who is now deceased, may he rest in peace, were very instrumental in my formative years. I still see Mr. Rivero. He lives not too far away from my house, a few blocks down. And he's very well. He's retired, enjoying his retirement. But there were so many along the way. Miss Ruby Oxley, definitely one of the nicest teachers that I've known, still very active in our community here in Corozal. Miss Imelda, I can't forget Miss Imelda. Miss Imelda was very instrumental in when she tried to teach me to write clearly and my cursive. I don't know that I did her teaching any. I think I did a disservice. I don't think that she was quite successful with me, but that's my fault, not hers. But all these teachers were excellent. They were wonderful. The Mary Hill RC School, I always have such great memories there. And of all my classmates, I still remember some of them. And we were a small school back then, but we did really good. It was the PSC back then. That will tell you how old I am. And so we were a very, very close community. One of the nicest things that we had as a tradition was in May, which is coming up next, at the Maypole Fair, and there was the Maypole Queen, and of course the dancing of the Maypole, which is still very special and still done in Mary Hill. So if anybody is listening out there, well, you can come out to Mary Hill around the 3rd week in May and come and see how the Maypole is danced. So it's all really nice.
We also recently highlighted Dr. Alina Scott, who successfully defended her dissertation in her PhD program at the University of Texas, Austin. Dr. Scott shared the importance of education and the role of teachers.
I think education is so important. I would not be here without all of the teachers who have invested in me and gone above and beyond what is required of them, what is asked of them, which is already a lot. I'm thinking about the teachers. I've lived all over Belize, right? So I've had teachers in PG, in Cayo, in Molopan, in San Pedro, in Belize City, and all of these different teachers went above and beyond what was required of them. And so often they don't get the credit for the amount of time and the emotional and physical labor that goes into teaching. And so I would like to wish all the teachers across Belize a happy Teachers Day. You are seen, you are valued, and your investments are not being taken for granted.
After the break, following significant, will San Ignacio pursue city status? Stay with us.
SMART is enhancing your mobile experience to keep you connected like never before.
Last year, we featured Run Man Belize, which partners with small businesses to serve as their delivery service if they don't offer such services. They also accept payment via their app and offer a few cashless options. They also accept cash. The app also features the menu of the businesses they partner with. The company has also expanded to Belmopan and the Ladyville area. Founder Daniel Hung recently gave us an update on how his business has been flourishing.
If we count the time we launched, I would say we officially started like getting more consistent like orders and deliveries from January of this year. So from January till now, that's like about 5 months. We've seen increase use of the platform, especially from Belize City. Right now, we have over 150 businesses. We have a reliable delivery fleet to be able to handle the demand, like countless orders every day, daily, from all across Belize City. And we're working on getting Belmopan and Ladyville to be as active, right, as Belize City. Yeah, so for businesses that are signed up to our platform, it's completely free to join. All right, so there's literally no risk. But for those that have signed up to our platform, they've told us they have let us know that it's been a really convenient way for their business, as it does allow them to offer delivery, where in the past they would either had to hire somebody or find some some people that through phone numbers or texting, which is a little bit limiting. Currently, it's based on commission, right? So we work with drivers that do it independently.
Last week, we reported that the boundaries of all 7 towns were updated to reflect the growth. The last time most of the town boundaries were adjusted was decades ago. Mayor of San Ignacio and Santa Elena, Earl Trapp Jr., spoke of the significant changes to his municipality's boundaries.
The newly redesigned increase in our town boundaries. Yes, it's increased by a big margin, but what is interesting to note is that a big portion of the increase or the extended town boundaries, the council were already servicing. And I think that was dated all the way in the early, I think, the late 60s to early 70s. So it's been outdated. If you notice where the town boundary was, like we are here at the town hall, the town boundaries was right there along the parallel with the Joseph Andrews Boulevard. So that wide area that is highly populated was basically out, but now it's officially in. And it extends, I can send you a copy of the extended town boundaries. It starts from the Red Creek Bridge by the police booth, by the checkpoint, and it cuts across along the path of Branchmouth, Santa Familia, and it goes all the way to San Jose Road before you get to Bully Tree. Then it cuts across all the way to Kaanas, beyond Kaanas, and then it takes a left and goes to in boundary with in line with Cristo Rey, and then comes back behind Hillview, and then comes back to touch at the point by the Red Creek Bridge. So it encompasses all that area. Of course, we have some other areas that we are not servicing. So it means that the council will have to find resources in order to reach out to the other communities. It's my hope that the central government will do something to support the municipalities, especially the ones that, like San Ignacio, Santa Anton Council, that extended exponentially and areas that we weren't servicing, now we have to service. And remember, some of those areas don't even have drivable roads because of the expansion that took place over the years with you have people that were subdividing and they didn't put the proper infrastructure in place. So now it means that the council will have to find resources one way or the other to reach to these communities if we are supposed to service them.
With the new boundaries, San Ignacio and Santa Elena should solidify itself as the second most populous municipality in the country behind Belize City. Will the town council pursue city status? Mayor Trapp said the idea has been discussed.
That have been a discussion from my last council. It has been a discussion, but remember, for any town or any village to upgrade to a town and any town to upgrade to a city, there are prerequisites. So we'll have to ensure that we meet the prerequisites. When it comes to population, yes, we meet that. In area, yes, we meet it. You know, before that, we would have to take it to a consultation with the people and see how they feel and what they feel about it. But certainly, there are so much. There are advantages and disadvantages, but most advantages. In this case, there won't be much of a difference. There won't be much a difference in terms of people worried about paying taxes, because in a city you pay tax, in a town you pay tax. And like with these town boundaries, like what someone mentioned this morning, um, what are the pros and cons with the extension of our town boundaries, extending into a village or areas that never used to pay taxes? There are so much advantages more than disadvantages, because now they will get the services of streets upgrades, the services of digging drains, the services of picking up garbage, the services of, developing. So there's more pros than cons. What you pay for a year, sir, which is basically um, a normal resident would pay per household, you would pay like maybe $110, $120 at most for the year. That could never compare with what the council does in terms of chopping your street side, upgrading your streets, picking up garbage. So $100 is nothing. So it is more of an advantage to you, the resident, than a disadvantage.
And it's fight week for Pro FC as their 16th competition is set for this Friday to be held at the Princess Vegas Casino in Santa Elena, Corozal. This big international mixed martial arts MMA tournament will feature fighters from the region, including from Nicaragua, Honduras, Mexico, and Belize. There will also be a match featuring women fighters. The CEO of Pro FC, Silvino Rivero Jr., spoke more on what can be expected from the international fighters on the big night.
Well, a couple of the fighters that Belizeans should be look out for is, for example, Cesar Morales from Merida, Yucatan. He has fought for Pro FC before, and some people know him as a singer because before he fights, he walks out singing like opera music. And after his victories, which he has won back-to-back fights at Pro FC, he also sings after his fights, and it's amazing to see him singing opera after having a fight, no? So he has a good gas tank, his oxygen level is really good, and he has a really good voice. So it's like getting a double show off, nice fight, and also getting somebody singing some opera music for 3-4 minutes. So it's a double treat for the fans who attend the event live. We also have May Blanco from Merida, Yucatan, who has fought for Pro FC from Pro FC 2 from 2019. She's been fighting for Pro FC. She hasn't lost a fight at Pro FC as yet, and she's a veteran. And if she wins this fight, we're definitely going to do the first female championship 115-pound fight, because May is on a run for quite a few years. And this time she's challenging the Nicaraguan Alison Delgadillo, who is coming from back-to-back victories herself in Central America. And she wants to show May Blanco that, her MMA is better than what May has. So that's going to be the fight that I believe is going to be the fight of the night. I have called that from the beginning. The females usually, when they step into the cage, they don't try to feel out anything. They just go straight to knock each other out, right? So they just punch, and somebody usually gets struck out or somebody bleeds, and the referee stops it. So I'm looking for that one to be the fight of the night. I also want to highlight Diego Lopez. He is from Honduras. He's one of the guys that the first time he fought at Pro FC was back in Pro FC 12 in Belmopan, and he fought for the belt coming straight from UCC, who is the biggest promotion in Panama. He represents them. He's from Honduras, but he fights for UCC. He's only 17 years old, but he's one of the guys that's definitely going to be in the future in the UFC for sure. He's 17 years old. He has 7 wins, all by knockout. Right, he has a record of 7-1, and at 17, it shows you that he's going to be great because he has a lot of power in his punches. He moves real good scrambles. So he's a full mixed martial artist, and he's fighting Kalen Smith, who's also a Belizean, very well trained Belizean fighter, coming off back-to-back wins himself. This fight is for the 135-pound bantamweight championship, and I expect somebody's gonna go to sleep because both guys hit hard. So I mean, people want to see a good fight. They definitely need to see this one, and it's already one of the. It's the second or third fight in the main card, no. And then of course we want to highlight Miguel Garcia Calderon, who is the main event versus Jeffrey Martinez. Miguel Garcia Calderon is a heavy hitter. He used to weigh over 200 pounds one time, and he only weighs 125 pounds now. So he carries that weight that he had when he was younger in his punching power. And he's fighting Jeffrey Martinez, who is the Pro FC 125 champ, the flyweight champ. Jeffrey is one of the prospects from Belize also. As we expect big things from him to one day make it to the professional level in UFC. And he wants to defend his belt once more now. So he's fighting Miguel Garcia. And that fight, Miguel says he's going to knock out Jeffrey, and Jeffrey says he's going to finish him by a rear naked choke. So I'm expecting a fireworks in that fight.
Rivero said he has received lots of positive responses from the international fighters.
And to highlight some other foreigners, no, I also want to highlight Alexander Rocha, who comes from Honduras as well. Alexander Rocha is a champ in other leagues. He won the 501 championship lightweight belt, and he also is a UCC featherweight champion. So he's champion in 2 other leagues. Now he's coming to Pro FC to fight a #1 contender fight against Eldred Simon from Placencia. Both Eldrin is undefeated. Alexander Rocha is coming off 3 wins. Alexander Rocha wants to prove that he's coming to Pro FC to take over that 155-pound division. No? So he's coming to face Eldrin Simon, and the winner of that fight is definitely going to be a #1 contender to get a title shot after this. No? So, and then Rocha, like I said, coming with a big name. Rocha has starred in Latin American movies as well, so he's very popular in Latin America. So we're excited to have him fighting and debuting at Pro FC. When a fighter signs up to fight at Pro FC, they need to fill out a form online to give a description about themselves and fun facts about themselves. And about 60% of the fighters that signed up, the fun fact that they put is that they consider Pro FC the premier promotion of Central and Southeastern Mexico. So Central America and Southeastern Mexico. So they say that to them it's like they're already fighting in the UFC because it's production is big compared to the productions that they have fought before. And they're saying that being here, they're excited to represent their country at a platform like Pro FC. So I've been getting so overwhelming messages and texts from a lot of gyms across Southeastern Mexico and Central America, including Mexico and USA and Canada. Canada is actually coming to our next Pro FC, some fighters from Canada. So it's being overwhelmed that the international fighters want to fight at Pro FC.
Rivero also explained the compensation packages that fighters received, which he said is possible through their sponsors.
Yes, all amateur fighters, we cover their travel expense from whatever country they're coming from. So either we fly them in, or they come in with their own cars, or they take a bus. But we take care of all their transportation costs. We provide all their lodging, their hotels. Like for example, all these fighters are staying at the Princess Vegas Casino or the Princess International Casino. So they're staying at the same hotels that we're gonna have the fights, and we cover all their food as well. So they don't spend any money from their pocket. No, we cover everything. And if they're professional, we cover everything, and they also get paid a purse, right? So we take care of the fighters very well, and that's the reason why everyone wants to come and fight at Pro FC. All those things cannot happen without the sponsors, that's for sure. And for example, for this event, again, I want to thank our main partner sponsor, who is CTV3, Center Cable Network, Channel 53, and you can only watch Pro FC on the Center Express Plus app. So please don't be texting me, calling, or even Instagramming the pages and asking how you can see this on YouTube. It won't be on YouTube. It's live on the Center Express Plus app. You need to pay for the app. It's very cheap. Get the app and you can watch Pro FC. That's the reason we can continue doing these events, because these people help us. So CTV3, Center Cable Network, I want to thank them. They're our biggest sponsor. We also have Bellikin Stout. We also have Digi Wallet. We have other sponsors, but the main sponsor is Center Cable Network, and the Express Plus app. I just want to thank all the fans that have been supporting us from the beginning, because when I started this thing in 2017, doing MMA events here in Belize, the attendance was very poor at first, and it's getting better. And I want to know that we have a good fan base that they appreciate everyone that comes and spend their hard-earned money at the Pro FC events.
And with that, we have come to the end of our newscast. The repeat can be viewed on the station later tonight at 9 and again Wednesday at midday. Join us again Wednesday at 6 p.m. for another news broadcast. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable evening.